Well, because I got the microphone here, is this going to get in the way? I was going to point with this ruler to images as they go by. So instead, Dan, you want to... It can be kind of an intuitive thing. So whenever you feel like there's an image that I'm talking about, just go for it. So, thank you. Thanks for being support. So yeah, thanks for coming and looking at my stuff. I'm happy to show it to you. I got a mix of 3 different pieces that I'm going to read to you. This first one here is from 2015. And this is from the neighborhood newspaper that I help produce and I do my illustrated series for. And it is called the 5-Decade Audit. So, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to give you a basic overview of it because it's pretty dense, as you can see. Back then I was doing black and white, I was doing a lot of words, not so many drawings. It started when I attended the Investigative Reporters and Editors Conference here in San Francisco. I listened to a talk that was given by Ben Poston, who is the data editor at the LA Times. He was giving a talk about ComStat. And ComStat is one of the most boneheaded abbreviations in history. It means computer statistics. And only cops could have thought of just shortening that. It's a crime tracking system, and it's used in most major cities, and in San Francisco it works like this. An officer writes a crime report, scans a paper copy of that report into the Records Bureau, and the aggregated crime data from all the reports that are scanned in guides policy decisions. But ever since ComStat was rolled out in the 90s, it's been misused in police departments by the brass, the top level cops who want to keep their numbers down. So to give you an example of how that works, a crime report might be classified as a simple assault, but then in the description, the suspect is using a pool cue or a bottle as a weapon, and that would elevate the crime to an aggravated assault in the penal code. But it's still labeled as a simple assault, so it looks like that's all that happened, but really the truth is worse. So Ben at the LA Times found that the LAPD was misclassifying violent crimes as minor offenses, and I think it was 1,200 minor crimes misclassified in his 2014 report. And I called him up and asked him for advice on how to conduct that similar report in San Francisco. He advised me to make public records requests, and that's what I did. And I went back and forth with the public information officer at the police department. After months of that, I was told that it would take me almost 50 years, 48 years, to get all the reports. So I gave up. That's my journalistic claim to infamy. But the truth is, there's just not enough. I don't have enough resources in it as an independent reporter working for a small neighborhood newspaper, whereas the LA Times can conduct this major investigation, and they can use their legal department to squeeze the police and make sure something happens. So there's a footnote to this article down there. You see me getting a little steamed because I had interviewed Greg Sir, who was the chief, the police chief at that time. Bald guy, yep. Lives around here actually, lives in West Portal. He told me that he'd be happy to work with me, give me all the reports that I needed, but that after following up after that interview, that never came true. So that was a disappointing time, and that's it. That's all that there is to this story. So let's move on to the next one, which thanks for the snaps. This one's in color now, because this was just last year. And this is called King of the Dogs. So rather than waste my time spending months and months to just do one black and white cartoon, instead I kind of wised up and just did a little history research and pulled together some of these neighborhood history pieces, of which this is kind of a one-off. I have longer stories that I've done too, collected them as zines. But this is a fun little story that happened in the neighborhood. It's about Connemara, a racing dog. It starts out in 1904 in Golden Gate Park. Chickens and pigs all over the city were being killed by wild animals, and in the park, the rangers found iridescent feathers and carcasses of peacocks, killed in the same way as the livestock. So at Ingleside Coursing Park, which is about 1.5 miles northeast of here, in what's now called Westwood Park, it's a residential neighborhood, gamblers would not only bet on, or would bet on greyhound races, and the best racing dog at that time was named Connemara. There he is, just a svelte beast in the inset. Drawing greyhounds is a lot of fun. It's beautiful curves. They're just, it's an easy dog to draw. Connemara was named after a cultural region in Western Ireland, and after winning one race, Connemara escaped. He just ran north out of his kennel into Sutro Forest, which was much denser at that time. There's a beautiful little detail in a newspaper story from that time. A night watchman hired to guard a chicken coop described seeing a pack of 40 wild dogs descend on the coop, led by a large black greyhound. So the rest is speculation, but you know, what else could have happened, right? It's speculated that Connemara asserted dominance over these wild dogs and became their leader. That's the fight scene we have there. And people were so worried that Connemara would breed with the wild dogs and create new super dogs that would terrorize the city that they put out a bounty. Connemara was wanted dead or alive. And I'm pleased to say that this story has a more satisfying ending than my last one. Connemara was never caught. Still alive. So that's Connemara. That's the king of the dogs. So I'd like to move on to my next story here. Thank you. Yeah, this is
Colner.
Yeah, great. We got William Colner. A couple of you here are familiar with this character. This is part of my graphic novel that that's in progress right now. It's called City Song, and it concerns William Colner. He's the fellow in the light brown sweater, and the big old glasses. I'm not going to tell you much about this. Let's just dive right in. We got Colner, and he's coming through the door of Heartland Insurance Agency. It's blue. They chose blue as the color scheme. Really brings the energy down, but that's what they went for. Got a receptionist there, and it's at such an angle I can't even really read what she's saying. But she's making an appointment, I think, on the phone with somebody, talking about the 20th of the month as a good date, I think. And then William, he's got some mail in his hand, holding it there in this little mitt. She's saying, yeah, just go in there to the right. And so he does, because she's distracted on the phone. He's not actually supposed to be there, but he's getting through. Mid panel, he's on the floor. People are talking about some stuff. They're dealing with insurance business over the phone, talking about the lower extremities and settling for $7,000 and all that good stuff. Phones are ringing. It's a busy place. Colner's walking through, hearing the rings. He's a little disoriented. He always kind of looks that way though, so he can't really tell. He's turning a corner. He's not looking where he's going. The blonde guy in a green tie and a charcoal suit, he's not looking where he's going. And they just go, bump. They bump into each other. And his glasses are flying off. So the blonde guy in the charcoal suit, he's like, oh my gosh. And he's like stepping backwards onto some glasses, and he's asking, "Are you okay?" And he actually steps on the glasses and makes a crunch sound. I think this is like I didn't even write this. I've seen this for the first time, but it's such an angle. I'm really at a disadvantage here. No, I think I'm liking this though. It's adding something to it. I feel excited to bring this to you guys because it's like I'm seeing it with completely new eyes. So speaking of which, William has lost his glasses. He's at a disadvantage here. He says he's okay, but his head kind of hurts, and the office is empty. What's going on? He hears some music from behind him, and some notes, like a thin piping, represented by some intertwined speech bubble tails, which I thought was kind of cool. There's a cave in the office. Where'd that come from? And he's walking into it. So he's going in, and it turns into just like a full-blown cave system. He's walking out, you know, he's the only thing that's digitally drawn, everything else is watercolors. You know, he's not sure what's going on. He sees a thin guy in the boat, got a lantern, he's got like a stick in the water. Water looks pretty gross. The thin guy is looking at him, he's looking at the water, and then he sees this little reflection there. In the corner, so his reflection changes. Now he's got a red hat. It's a Liberty cap. He's got like a green tunic. He's totally different. But he's now watercolor too, because he's in this world, this kind of strange place. And then the is he pointing? No, he's telling him it's like a stop, right? What's going on? Yeah. Okay. And then the skinny guy. Really skinny, actually, because he's a skeleton. He's like holding his hand out, and we got some big old coins behind him, and his hand is just right there. It's like, you know, you gotta pay up. But instead, William, who maybe he's not even William anymore, red cap dude, just starts playing his lyre, and he's singing, and then the skeleton hand, it's closing. So that's good enough. You know, no need to bust out those big old coins he's asking for. So he's good. So he starts wading into the water. He's going towards the boat. He gets in the boat, kind of tucks himself in, gets himself all cozy, and skeleton guy starts rowing him. So they're rowing. They're going along down the river, and it's it's like just again more cave. Where's this all leading to? I don't know. William doesn't know. He's looking over the side of the boat though. There's like some weird things poking up. They're hands, and then he reaches to them, and he's reaching, and they're reaching back, and then there's like all kinds of people poking out of the water, and they're kind of like translucent, with a little bluish hue. It's kind of creepy. But you know, that's it. That's the cliffhanger I gotta leave you on. So, thank you all. That was fun. Oh.